I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads for a moment of silence. Thank you. Council, do we have any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, I would like to add, I believe, under new business, item number C, which would be to approve an employment contract for an interim town manager. And then, I guess, item D would be to appoint an interim town manager until to appoint Matt Johnson until the interim town manager begins work.
Okay.
That's C and D.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to
this
approve.
agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. And do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Katie, do we have anyone signed up for public comment period?
Nobody signed up.
Thank you. Matthew, would you please give us some information on the appointment of the members to the AARP committee?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. The Town Council elected to participate in the AARP Livable Communities program, and the goal of that initiative is to provide feedback to the council regarding ways to make the community more accessible for aging adults. Additionally, team members are expected to be advocates for positive change with respect to improving livability for all citizens. Included in your packets a draft job description and a list of interested parties that would be interested in serving. The council did establish the committee at the last meeting, but now they'd like to go ahead and appoint new members. The council may wish to limit the terms. The suggested period was 2 years, and they may limit the number of times that the members may be reappointed. The suggested limit would be 3 terms. The minimum number of members would be 7, with a maximum of 9 on the committee. I believe you have 5 in your packet this evening. It's also just suggested that the council appoint a council member as a liaison to the committee and then have that member report to the full council on the monthly basis during the members' reports. Any questions? I will go ahead and say that one of the things that we did, when I wrote this, the job description, is that they were seeking 7 citizens who must live within the town's corporate limits. And there we have had 1 ETJ application come in, but that would be an item for discussion amongst the council, whether or not it needed to be opened up to people who are outside the corporate limits.
Okay. Okay. Are you going to need several motions from us or one motion to approve? How do you want direction on the number of people and the term limits?
I think it would be best to have a motion on the committee itself for the term limits and
Well, the committee itself has already been established at the previous meeting. So
Okay.
on the working agenda, it lists the applicants. If you guys would want to make that change to include the ETJ people as well, you'd have to make that motion.
Well, that's what I had questioned about. I think it's good that we have it for the corporate limits now. There may be volunteer opportunities as this committee goes forward. But I do think, yes, we need to appoint the people who have given their applications by name, but I do think you're right that we should, within that motion, say it's established a 2-year term with 3-term limit.
Okay.
And I think we could do that all in one motion.
And also to appoint Rebecca or whoever wants to serve as the liaison.
Okay. Do we have a volunteer as the liaison?
I would be honored to be the alternate.
Very good.
Okay. And so we could include that all in one motion,
Yes.
okay?
Can we just say so moved?
Well, I would move to appoint the members to the AARP Communities Committee of Dee Fink, Wid Painter, Susan Joyner, Laura Gutledge, and Pam Burgess, and for this to be 2-year terms with 3-term maximum. And we are requesting Rebecca Rayburn to be the council liaison.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Okay, and thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you all.
And Matthew, can you now tell us about the approval of the planner job description from last month?
Yes, at the November regular meeting, the town manager presented the engineering tech job description for council approval, and after some discussion, the council directed the staff to revisit this during this evening's meeting and to focus the position on the department where the funding is currently included, which is the planning department. Included in your packet is a job description, a job advertisement, and a brochure for the job advertisement for a planner. The staff are asking for approval of a change in the title, which is currently engineering tech, but the pay class, that's in the pay classification system, and the approval of job description included. There is no change to the pay grade. That's just the title name change. If approved, the staff would anticipate advertising the position immediately with a priority consideration given to applicants who respond on or before February 1st of '21. And the funding, Judy wanted me to let you know, funding is available in the current budget year for that.
We had 6 months in that, correct?
We did, and that will be
It'll be less.
well into that, yes.
Well, this job description is more in line with what I thought we had originally talked about during the budget process.
Agreed.
Any questions for Matthew?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's, sorry, I have a quick question. It's not, it's maybe picky, but in the brochure, it's on page 61 of our packet.
Yes.
And it has the mission statement of town, saying that, about maintaining good contacts for both fire and police protection. Should that be contracts with or contacts?
That's an older mission statement. That's the one we have now. And there have been some discussion about updating that at some point in the not too distant future.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well, I felt like I'd seen it as contracts with and contacts for.
I
And just
think
didn't-
you're probably right. It probably should be contracts instead of
good. I think
contracts.
what they're trying to say is maintain good relationships with both the police and
Oh.
fire, the people that we
Oh,
contract
okay.
with.
Okay,
I think that's what
contracts.
the intent was.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That makes sense, okay.
Gotcha. The idea there is to give a little bit of information to a prospective employee.
Oh, yeah, that looks good. Yeah,
Okay.
that was the,
Gotcha.
Do I have a
sorry, as you were.
You're in a
motion?
We did it and I seconded it.
You seconded? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Okay. Matthew,
Yes,
we need to set a date for a public hearing.
yes, a request to set a date for a public hearing for the consideration of the rezoning request for 2221 Guilford College Road, 5300 Mackey Road, 2207 Guilford College Road, and 5303 Mackey Road, which is also known as the Johnson property, beginning on the January 19th, 2021 regular meeting date.
Do we just need the motion? Okay. Let's see, move to set a public hearing date for the consideration of a rezoning request for 2221 Guilford College Road, 5300 Mackey Road, 2207 Guilford College Road, and 5303 Mackey Road, the Johnson property, for the January 19, 2021 regular meeting.
Do I have a second?
And that's at 6 PM in the Civic Center?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, and, all right, and Matthew, the approval of the DOT Title VI?
Yes, the last item of new business that I have for you is the consideration of the approval of the NCDOT Title VI non-discrimination policy. This is information that came to us. I did find this in an email chain that requested that we, a little bit of background information here. The federal government provides funding through the state down to subrecipients, which would be municipalities, for highway projects, road projects, sidewalk projects. This is the money that we have been able to be fortunate enough to get for the East Fork Bridge and the East Main Sidewalk project. One of the things that they have asked, the federal government has asked the states to do is to make sure that we are compliant with Title VI non-discrimination policy. So,
Sorry.
sorry about that. The request has come from DOT that we go ahead and adopt this information. At the very minimum, we need to designate a Title VI liaison. We need to adopt a statement of Title VI policy. We need to post it and the grievance procedures. And they did tell us that with the data collection and record keeping, that they were going to be coming up with a methodology for that. So we'll be seeing that in the not too distant future. And they also recommended a Title VI plan. Now, there have been, we did take their suggested language, and so that we've tried to make it fit us. There have been a number of changes to that. And the most recent one, I did complete this afternoon. Thank you to Rebecca for showing us a couple of issues, and to Katie as well. The last update that I made was this afternoon, which, if you will go to page, let's see here in the packet. Apologies, I had this up. On page 78, it's in regards to the limited English proficiency measures. People can use Google Translate. I did figure this out today, how you can do this. You can use Google Translate to translate your entire website into all types of different languages. So that is accurate. I did remove at the minimum, the following vital documents will be translated. There is a NCDOT Title VI telephone line that you can call. It's a 1-800 number if you have questions or for translation, if you have issues with other languages. So you can call them and they will provide a language translation for no fee. Or we could go with a different one that, there are fee-based ones as well. So there are options for us as far as if somebody came in and had an issue with a language barrier, we could assist them with that. And they actually have video processing things so that if you're hearing impaired, you can use sign language. So that's a lot of information, and I know it's a lot of information to process. It is something that they would like us to complete before January the 4th.
The designation of the officer, is that a town employee?
It does need to be a town employee.
Okay.
Sharon Apple is our HR liaison, if you will, does a county manager as her title. And so we have asked her if she would be willing to do it, and she did agree.
Okay.
So we don't foresee that this will be a tremendous amount of work. Obviously, if we do have a claim come in, we will treat it very sensitively and very quickly address it.
Okay. Questions, council?
No, I mean, I feel like it's something that we have to adopt, and we certainly don't want to jeopardize our federal funding on anything, and
Correct. That's the most important thing for us right now, is not to jeopardize our revenue stream for grant funding from the state.
And all of the forms are now have the same language that we were concerned about earlier?
Say that again?
All the forms now contain the same language?
Very similar. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. So I did send this information to the NCDOT Title VI liaison. They have approved the statement and the designation of the liaison. They just want us to see us adopt it. But they said that language was fine, because we used theirs. They've seen the plan, and they're still reviewing that. This is something that could be changed at some point in the future. If they come back and say they'd like to see some portions of it changed, we could certainly do that. We just want to be in compliance with the state going forward.
Okay.
Well, I would move to approve the adoption of the Title VI Statement of Compliance and designation of the Title VI officer and adoption of and implementation of the plan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Matthew, you want to go ahead and give us your manager's report now?
I can, I'd be glad to. Just a couple of dates we want to put on the calendar. The town offices are going to be closed December the 24th and 5th and the 28th, that's a Monday.
Well, I think we were supposed to do our C and D
Yeah.
before your manager report.
Right,
I'm sorry.
Did you want to do C and D, or did you want the report while I was up here?
I'm sorry, that's okay. We
You
can
wanna
go
come
to
back?
C and D. I
Okay.
have-
I'm
Yep.
sorry to
Yeah, I'm
interrupt
here.
you.
No problem, that's great,
I
thanks.
was just trying to stay with my notes here.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Beth, would you like to present those two items to us?
Certainly.
Thank you, Martha.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, council. First, I know that you all have considered the hiring of an interim town manager. And because of the fact that the individual that you have been talking to cannot start work until, I believe it's the 11th of January, then we need, or you will need to appoint someone to serve as interim town manager between this time and the 11th of January, or until such time as that the interim town manager you've been interviewing, if he chooses to accept your offer, takes up employment with the town. So you've got a couple of motions in front of you. The first one is to appoint Matthew Johnson as the interim town manager to serve until such time as another interim town manager or a permanent town manager is appointed and starts his or her duties. At that time, Matthew will then resume his duties as planning director and assistant town manager. And that motion is for your consideration. The second motion is to make an offer of employment to David Treem as interim town manager. His salary would be $60 an hour, plus reimbursement of his mileage for his personal vehicle at the IRS allowable rate, and reimbursement of any town business-related expenses. Obviously, with a contract with a manager, there are other things that we add that are appropriate for an employment contract. But those would be fairly standard as we've had with town managers in the past. I think Mr. Treem had emailed me in conversations with him. He wants to make sure that his expectations of what hourly time he intends to devote to the town in any given week is equal to what you are expecting of him. And he suggested that I insert a provision in the contract that says that he will devote a minimum of 33 and a half hours to the town every week, and of course, more on an as-need basis if necessary. And I felt that that would address that issue fairly. Of course, again, that's for your consideration.
Okay.
Any questions?
Questions concerning this?
Well, in these motions, do we need to specify, like for the appointment of Matthew Johnson as an interim town manager during this temporary time, do we need to put like from today, December 15th, until January 11th? And then in the motion to hire Dave Treem, say beginning January 11th until such time as a permanent town manager is hired?
I think the way that I've got the motion worded is we anticipate January 11th would be Mr. Treem's start date, assuming, of course, that he accepts our offer. So the way I've got the motion for Matthew worded is that he serves until such time as that person takes up their duties. And that covers any gaps so that we don't have to come in and do it again.
Okay.
The other thing that I would call to your attention is that in Mr. Treem's contract that he submitted for my review, he did have an outside termination date of September 2021.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that you all were aware of that. So, you know, you'll
Well,
have to.
we had talked about 6 months, and if he began in January, take us through the budget process, which would be like the end of June, so it would be July. And also through the search process for the new town manager, and so he would be here through the budget process or until such time as a new town manager.
There are recitations in the contract that he submitted that state clearly that your intent is to keep him as long as we as long as we need him, which would be until you decide to hire a new town manager. And also, that contract can be terminated by either party, the town or him, on, immediate notice, so.
And of course, yeah, it says in here, but in no event later than September 10th, so that means you could do it earlier. You
That's
could-
correct.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
Do these need to be separate motions, Beth?
I think so.
Okay.
No matter which order we go in, as far as which
I
motion's
don't think
first.
so.
All right, I'll do the first one.
Okay.
Excuse me. Make a motion that Matthew Johnson shall serve as interim town manager with all powers and authority vested therein until such time as the town council hires another interim manager or a permanent town manager. At the time that the interim or permanent town manager assumes his or her duties, then Matthew Johnson shall resume his regular duties as planning director and assistant town manager.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Do you have an extra copy of that? Never got one. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on the additional motion? Or someone ready to make that motion?
Well, I would be approved to make an offer of employment as interim town manager to Mr. David W. Treem upon the following terms: his salary of $60 per hour, plus reimbursement of mileage for his personal vehicle at the IRS allowable rate while on town business, and reimbursement of town business-related expenses.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, and thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Beth.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Matthew, now I'll get back to your manager's report.
Glad to. Just a couple of dates as we discussed. The town offices are going to be closed December the 24th and 5th, and the 28th, which is a Monday, in observance of the Christmas holiday. January 1st, 2021, in observance of New Year's Day, and finally January 18th, in observance of the MLK Junior holiday. Let's see here. January 22nd, 2021, from 9 a.m. until the council will hold a budget retreat at the Golf Course Pro Shop. I am very pleased to say that we have some audio and visual assistants here this evening. We have hired Ken the Clouser, a former employee who is now working with Summit Church, to assist us on a part-time basis. So we thank you very much for being here. We have had some audio issues in the past due to some hardware problems, and we've been in touch with the installer. They did provide a solution, which Kenneth enacted this evening, so that those things should be clearing up. 301 Lee Street, I've been working with Beth and D.H. Griffith to schedule a demolition of the structures on that property. We've contacted 811. We verified that utilities have been disconnected, and we're anticipating demolition shortly after the first of the year. The asbestos testing was conducted yesterday on that property. Oakdale Cotton Mill, we're currently working with Preservation North Carolina to hopefully secure a private deal between the owners of the mill and a potential renovation developer. Those conversations are ongoing. The golf maintenance building, Paul anticipates that a bid package would be ready for advertisement late January, early February. He's been working very closely with the golf maintenance department and is working on some final plans now. I know he met with them yesterday. The sidewalk along East Main, we all know that has been going on longer than we anticipated. due to a bunch of different reasons, but the February 21 is the anticipated date for completion. And I wanted to mention that the closed session minutes that we normally put on the December agenda for review by the town attorney and discussions for keeping those sealed or opening those up will be on the January 19th council agenda. So we did not forget those, just some timing issues we had to work out.
Do we have a timetable in terms of, with the Oakdale discussions? I mean, have they narrowed anything down?
I don't have a specific timetable. I'm hoping to bring some more information to you in January. I know that they're trying to broker a private deal that we've just sort of been in conversations to try to, help connect those two parties up at this point. I know that they're discussing appraisals and those types of things. So I just wanted you to know that there is some work on that's ongoing.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Any questions?
I'm glad to see that the golf course maintenance building is back on track.
Yes,
And
yes.
I really appreciate that. And I just want
Thank
to
you, Paula.
publicly thank the JBA and Jamestown Rotary and the volunteers for the event and staff for what they helped do here for the Christmas on Main. And the mayor and the other council members, they were out there hard at work, and it was beautiful. And I've had a lot of people tell me how much they appreciated a safe way for them to see Santa and to see downtown.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, kudos to all those people, yeah.
Rotary did a great job.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good holiday.
You too.
Thank you. Council, do you have any committee reports?
No, ma'am.
I do not.
Okay.
Planning board,
What?
it's hard to see faces now. The planning board met on November 23rd, so they had met prior to our meeting, and then were meeting primarily just to have the vote on the plan for the Johnson property on November 23rd. And so there was a smaller amount of discussion compared to previous meetings, and they voted. And with the exception of one member, they all voted to not recommend adoption of Diamondback's PUD plan to the council. And the one member who voted in support of the plan said he did so just because it could bring affordable housing to town. So we'll hear more about that next month.
Okay, thank you. And I have a report from our high school rep who couldn't be with us this evening because he is in front of the Eagle Scout Review Board. So he sent his report, which says, "You all have not missed much from Ragsdale update since we've not been back in person for classes at school since March 13th. This can obviously change at any time, but as of now, we are slated to return the third week of January on a hybrid schedule, meaning half the school will go Monday and Tuesday, the other half going Thursday and Friday, and using Wednesday as a day to clean the school. Despite not being in person for classes, some sports have been played. Volleyball and cross country are finishing up their seasons, while basketball and football have begun practice in hopes of starting at the beginning of the coming year. Respectfully submitted, Wynn Scott." So we hope to see Wynn in January.
Okay.
Good deal.
No other reports, correct? Katie, do we have anyone signed up for public comment period?
Nobody signed up.
Okay. And we have any other business we'd like to address?
I've got a couple of things, if
Okay.
you will indulge me. I just want to be sure that everyone was aware of that City of High Point is doing this Jamestown bypass land use assessment. They actually were going to have a Zoom meeting tonight, but they have changed it, which I'm glad, to January 12th at 6 p.m. So you can register and be a part of that Zoom meeting. And also go on their website to get more information on the study. And I don't know, Matt, you were maybe going to talk to Heidi from their planning department to see if there's something we can do from Jamestown?
Yeah, I did speak to her through an email, and she sent me that information, which we did post on the town's Facebook site. Was not aware that they had changed the date to the 12th.
I just found that out today, yeah.
I'll make some changes on that, and I'll reach back out to her. When I did discuss your idea of having information from the town, she suggested that individuals
Okay,
log into that Zoom meeting and elected or appointed officials are welcome,
Okay,
and give some feedback to the city.
okay.
I know that there's been some confusion. Some people think that this is our initiative. It is the City of High Point's initiative, just like we're doing our comprehensive plan. They're trying to do a sort of a focus study on that area that is just outside of the town's jurisdiction, all the way into High Point's jurisdiction.
But comes real close, so there's areas that we need to be paying attention to, and
They will have an impact on
yeah,
us, that's
definitely.
correct.
So, okay. Then just one other thing that you may be aware of. Many of you knew Kim McCone, who was the founding executive director of the Mary Perry Ragsdale Family YMCA. She passed away on October 25th, very suddenly, with a brief illness. It was, still can't believe it. But the YMCA is going to establish an endowment fund through the YMCA of Greensboro. And the endowment fund would be on a yearly basis and provide a scholarship at the Mary Perry Ragsdale Family YMCA to a child or a family in the Jamestown community. Their goal is to raise $20,000, and they would ensure a $1,000 scholarship for the next 20 years. So I was just saying, if anyone was interested, you can make the donations here, though, to the Mary Perry Ragsdale YMCA with just stating that it's for the Kim McCone Endowment Fund.
Thank you, Martha.
Yep, that's all that I had.
Any other business, council?
No, ma'am.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I oppose. Thank you. And Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas.